G'day, g'day. Symmetry was the theme of this game jam. Stick around to the end of the video for my tips from this game jam for other developers. My game was called the Symmetry Hole Problem, which is a bit of play on words from the Monty Hole Problem, if you know that, but actually doesn't have much to do with the puzzle itself. So you are in a hole. It's a first-person perspective game, and there are these puzzles that get in your way. So quite inspired by The Witness, which I'm sure everyone's heard of. So the game is to fill in all the squares, and there are different rules, and in this one we can see a 2 at the top, so that means 2 squares need to be connected to that 2 and of the same color. Exactly 2 squares, so the bottom 2 would need to be a different color. Same idea here, there's 3 and 1. And this one's 7, but there are actually 8 squares, so showing you that you just need to color 7 and something else for the next one. Now this is the first introduction of the horizontal line, which is supposed to signify that the shape you create must be symmetric across a horizontal line. So in this case, the letter H will be symmetric, and this top one should be any other color. The problem with this game was that was basically the extent of the tutorial, and you could get through and accidentally solve the puzzles. And a lot of people got stuck at this point, but let's push on. Here we have a 4 that requires horizontal symmetry, and just a single 1 at the bottom. 5, which would be solved like this for horizontal symmetry. This one's a little bit trickier. Both of them need to be symmetric vertically, like this. There's a little square on the ground here. Who knows what that does? And another puzzle with horizontal symmetry. And then we enter the main room, which is where the puzzles get a lot harder. And a lot of people, I think, gave up at this point because there wasn't a good enough lead in to understand the mechanic. For instance, we can go over to this wall and we see the 5 has a diagonal line. So that means it must be symmetric diagonally, like this. A lot of other puzzles, some of them actually relate to the environment, such as this one. This might look like it's the solution, but it's not, and you have to sort of pay attention to what's going on in the world as to why that's not the solution. Similarly here, there's some tiles on the floor that can be touched, and you need to work out what's going on. Eventually you can make it to the top of this tower, and when you finish the game, the timer will stop. Seems to be anywhere between 40 minutes and 2 hours for the people who did get through it, so quite a long game for a game jam game. I don't think I'll spoil too much more of this one. Links are in the description if people are interested more, particularly those who like environmental puzzle games like this or The Witness. The results for the Symmetry Hole Problem were 14th, 14th, 7th, 16th, 24th, 6th, 8th and 9th overall. I was really excited submitting this one. It felt like the most playable and longest game I'd submitted so far, in a good way. There were puzzles which progressed in difficulty and I thought would keep the player engaged. The game mechanic wasn't explained well enough and perhaps was too hard for a game jam, as is reflected in many of the categories. So what did I learn and what advice would I give others? Tutorial length should be proportional to the difficulty of the game mechanic that you're trying to explain. In this game, I had about 3 puzzles in the beginning hallway which attempted to explain the entire mechanic. This clearly wasn't enough for a lot of players, as shown by the reviews and comments. But still, lesson learned. Don't forget your previous game jam lessons, as in this episode. Make the game easier. That's what I told myself. You can't please everybody, but this actually might be a good thing. Sometimes it's good to be polarizing because you only need a few people to love your game rather than everyone just to moderately like your game. I'm pleased to say I took this idea and ran with it. After all the game jams were done and 2023 came around, I decided to polish this one off. It's actually my first Steam release and I'll show links here. Comment down below and mention the word escape. The first 3 people to do so, I can give them a free Steam key. Next month we'll see the return of some familiar faces. I know you've missed them. Thanks for coming, see you later, have a good one.